While the 3s didn't seem to last very long, the Jordan Luka 4s seem to be a much better shoe. Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Chris. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Today we got a detailed look and breakdown on these potential bad boys right here. This is the Jordan Luka 4, and I gotta say, just off of a quick try on, these feel way better than these guys right here. I did not like these. I didn't even like the fit of them. They're bulky for no reason. I do love the outsole though. The outsole is awesome. But this just seems like a more refined shoe. If anything, it feels like the best version of what would have come after the Luka 2s, which is always nice to see. And just in case you were wondering, this is the box. It's nothing really fancy, but it is cool, so I like it. Now, before we deep dive into the shoes, if you like this hoodie, it is available now in limited quantities, so make sure that you head over to senseapparel.com before it's too late. And with that being said, the outsole on these looks just as awesome as it did on the Luka 3s. The main difference is that the Luka 3s added herringbone and did it in a radial fashion, which I just happen to love. Whereas the Luka 4s, they almost go in that direction. They do fan out quite a bit, but it's just a little bit different. I will say that the previous model does feel like it might hold up a little bit better outdoors, mostly just because the rubber feels a little bit thicker. And since they're so heavily discounted right now, they're actually not a bad option to grab outdoors versus buying something brand new like this. However, speaking of outdoors, I might be more excited for the other Luka model than I was for these, just because I really love how they look. But that's that Luka 77 that we saw, or 0.77. I don't know what they're, like, how to say it, you know what I mean? But I'm just gonna call them the Luka 77s. But that's supposed to be an outdoor specific model, which I think is fantastic. And they really remind me of an old Team Jordan that I absolutely love, that I just so happen to have. These are kind of a relic. A lot of people don't really remember these, but if you're from my era where the Jordan brand was just beginning and you know, starting to take form, you might remember the Jordan Team Post. These are fucking awesome. But yeah, these things right here, that's what the other Lukas remind me of, but more of a low top form, which I personally love. If you wanted a full review on these things, let me know. We could take care of that for you. Now, the cushion is interesting because that was probably my main gripe with the last model, which was like, oh yeah, we're still on the Cushlon thing, but there's no upgrades, even though we keep getting price increases. So it seems like that's a little bit different with this model. They did actually add Zoom Air to the shoe. A lot of people are actually criticizing it because of the way that it's implemented, and I'm totally in agreement with you guys. I do think that if you flip this around the way that, you know, they used to be put into like certain shoes, like what James Harden used to wear. I can't remember the dang models. The Crusaders, maybe? I can't remember, honestly. I know that I have reviews on them. We've been doing this for a long ass time. There's a lot of shoes in this brain. Sometimes they don't all stick.
I'm sorry.
But either way, the shoe has that stick of gum zoom unit, or at least that's what I like to call it. And doing it in this linear fashion, in the weirdest spot, you'd think that you would move it over and have it in the ball of the foot area, like a main strike zone or something. I think that that makes more sense, but it is what it is. I will say that Luka did play in a shoe that did feature cushion just like this, minus the Cushlon, and he loved them. So that might be where they're going. They might be like, oh, let's just give him what he wants. Or it might be, let's give the people what they want too, which is like, we are raising prices. So like, let's give them a little bit extra stuff in there.
Maybe.
I do wish that they would do something more like this. I really wish that they would bring Met units back, this little 4-foot ball of the foot Zoom Air unit. I think that those would be a little bit better than something like this. But again, maybe there's science behind this that I don't know about that would prove my opinion wrong. But in addition to the Zoom unit, there is still Cushlon in there. It does feel really good. However, it feels more comfortable in the heel, whereas the 4-foot surprisingly felt really firm and really low to the ground. So I'm really curious to know how these will feel once you start moving and playing in them. Because that's one thing that I'll give the Luka 3s, is just they felt plush underfoot from heel to toe right out the box. Luka also didn't really like to play in those, so I don't know what the deal is there. So maybe this is more his speed. Who knows? I will say that they feel a little bit more alongside the Luka 1s, which I do really love. I love that shoe. So again, maybe they're just kind of like returning to what he likes instead of just trying to like come up with something that they think that he'd like. But either way, plush in the heel, firmer in the 4-foot, lots of court feel and everything like that. They are still really wide as far as stability is concerned, which I think is great, especially for shooters. I actually put up a short, or it is a short, right? What do they call it everywhere else? Reels, stuff like that. I don't know. And I just put up a small little highlight clip from one of my league games, and I had stated that that was one of the best shoes for shooters. If you wanted a full list on that, chock full of what, like 5, 6 different models that you could choose from, sound off below and let me know. I could take care of that for you. Now, one of the things that's been a through line throughout the entire series has been the 4-foot ISO plate. You can see that poking through the rubber due to the clear outsole, but every model they've been slightly tweaked, which I think is a good move. They're just kind of perfecting the thing that they've been working with Luka's shoe. So he's a 4-foot heavy style of player, which again, really kind of like, at least in my opinion, re-emphasizes the fact that I think he likes being low to the ground and having that court feel versus having ultimate plushness under the 4-foot like he did in the Luka 3. So that might be why he didn't really like playing in those. Who knows? It could have also been the fit. They fit a little bit tight. But yeah, keeping that ISO plate in there, I think is a good move. It's something that, again, is a through line. And so if you like that 4-foot placement, then there you go. I do hope that it does not affect the longevity of the zoom unit that's in there just because of the way that it's placed. It seems like there's Cushlon, then the ISO plate, then Zoom Air on top of that. And so when you're flexing, I just hope that that plastic doesn't put too much pressure into the zoom bag and then pop it. I will say though that Nike has a great warranty on all of its like Air products and stuff like that. So if that were to happen, you could always just file a Nike claim, get a full refund, get your voucher, and then go buy a different pair or a new pair. I will say though that ISO plate does extend throughout the midsole all the way to the heel, which is different than the previous models. I will say that this one right here, the Luka 3 did come close, but it kind of stopped right at that midfoot. This one goes all the way to the heel, so it adds full-on stability. So you got a lot of torsional rigidity as well as 4-foot flex and spring. Now the materials are where things start to just become modern and standard, repetitive, if you will. And I'm not talking about this model and this line in general. I'm just talking about all brands. Like, it's textile. There's not any leather on there. There are some materials on here that almost look like they could be leather, but they're not. I think that might also be why I'm excited for the Luka 77, just because it looks like there's nubuck. It could be synthetic, but it just looks different. You know what I mean? It looks like the stuff that I kind of like grew up with. And so I'm really hoping that that is where that shoe is leaning. This one right here, it's just all textile everything, which isn't bad as long as it performs well, which it feels like it will. All the textiles feel really tight and strong, but they also feel flexible. So break-in time will probably be minimal. I do like that there seems to be layers added though. That's something that I've always been real critical with textiles, is that they've always got this flat design. Like everything, when you turn the lights off and you only see the silhouette, they all start to look the same. So when you look at it like this and you've got all these like weird little designs and stitching and all of this stuff where they can add color, they can add design, they can add structure, I think that that's a good move. The tongue is quite large, which I found to be kind of interesting, honestly, because sometimes they've been like giving us some real chintzy tongues, like all brands, not specifically talking about Jordan brand, but with this one, you got a nice little padded one there. I like the logos that are on there. That's always a good move too. Behind the tongue on the right shoe, there's a nice little heart embroidered within there. I do not remember what that's for. I do remember them talking about it in the press release. I just can't remember what it is. So if you wanted to remind me in the comments, please do. Now, as far as sizing is concerned, they do fit true to size. That's the one thing that I just really enjoyed right off the bat, just from trying them on, is just that they did not fit like the Luka 3s. Those things, my toes were just like getting crushed and right in the toe box, but I didn't want to go up half a size because then I get some floppiness in the heel. These guys fit perfectly true to size. There's nice sculpting in the internal heel of the shoe, so it's going to cup your heel area really nicely. So again, I like that. Everything feels a lot better than the last model, so I think this is a true upgrade, which was again my main criticism between the 2 and the 3. It just didn't feel like an upgrade. It almost felt like things were just stagnant or almost getting pulled back. And now that Luka's in LA, maybe these shoes are going to sell even more. Who knows? I don't know. You know what I mean? Maybe the brand's excited. I'm not sure. I know that these were designed and manufactured before the trade. Way before. And one thing I almost forgot, the insole. Yes, it's a cheap piece of shit. You can take it out, swap it out for anything else that you'd like. You should be good to go. Now, with all of that being said, what is today's user submitted question of the day?
What are your thoughts on the OG X-Men being announced for Doomsday?
Well, they're not all there. That's the first thing. Will they all be there? Who knows? Maybe they're dead. Because I mean, after Days of Future Past, you know what I mean? Like, we don't really know what happened, because that kind of like resets stuff. But didn't that happen and then Apocalypse happened? I can't remember the order of the movies.
It wouldn't even matter. Nothing's in order anymore.
Well, that Fox universe was a cluster of everything. So like, there was no real continuity. You know what I mean? Like, they tried to reboot with the First Class thing, and then they immediately went to, let's mix them all together. You know what I mean? So like, everybody's like, but it was cool, so like, who cares? As far as like what I think that it's, so far, sounds fun. Who did they announce? They announced Cyclops. I'm excited to see him back. I hope that they give them real suits, not leather. Or, I mean, it could be leather, but like not black leather. You know what I mean? I'm talking about like, I need to see Jim Lee's Cyclops suit on this fool, especially on James Marsden, man. His hair needs to flow. Alan Cumming is back as Nightcrawler. I think that's great. Same thing though. I hope that they put him in a real suit like they did with that kid that played it in the First Class series, even though you only saw a small glimpse of it at the very end of the last movie. Same thing with the Cyclops suit. He had a really cool suit there. I will say that that was like the coolest part about all of the films, was that one scene where they looked like the X-Men. Who else was there? Beast. Beast, I think, is fine just because we've already seen him in, was it The Marvels? The end of that movie? And we see that he's now CGI Beast and looks like Jim Lee's Beast. So that's what I'm hoping that that's the visual cue that like, hey, this is gonna be the X-Men that you remember, but the way that you wanted them to look. You know what I mean? So like, that's what I'm hoping. Who else was in there? Magneto?
Mystique.
Oh yeah, and Mystique. That's the one where I'm not sure about that. She's gonna be all CGI. She's still gonna be buck-ass naked. I'm not really sure. I hope not. I hope they put her in the white suit with the hair.
And the skulls?
I mean, the skulls you could do without, but like, I hope that she looks like the way she's supposed to. And then Ian McKellen back as Magneto. That's the one where like, if he's not in the suit, proper suit, I might just be like, what the hell? But as far as being excited, I'm excited for the movies in general. I would really like, to be perfectly blunt, if we could stop knowing so much about this stuff. I just want to go into the movie and get surprised. That's what I like. I like walking in there and being like wowed, you know what I'm saying? Especially with this stuff, because the more that I know about this stuff, the more that I know about what might be happening, even though they do tweak it quite a bit, but like the gist of things is because I have so much of the comics and cartoons and all of this stuff, like they're actual like stories like in my mind, and I don't want to know ahead of time what they're doing. I want things to be fresh and fun, and the more that we know about it, the less that happens. Like the whole like Spider-Man thing really like got ruined before anybody got into the theater, and even though people were still excited to see them in Spider-Man No Way Home.
No, I know, but I didn't know.
You didn't?
No, I didn't know.
Well, then lucky you. You know what I mean? Like all I thought was when we first saw Andrew Garfield, I was like, oh, they did do it.
Oh, no, I didn't know.
And then immediately we see Toby and I was like, they did it again. So yeah, but it wasn't like shocking. But maybe I'm different because I'm not the normal movie-going audience. I am on the internet, not literally. Well, even though literally, but like I'm always like.
No, I know, we're very different. Like I don't even, unless you purposely make me watch a trailer, I literally have to be in the theater to see a trailer.
Right. Whereas I watch the trailer, then I watch the breakdown of the trailer, then I watch someone's breakdown of their breakdown, and like stuff like that. So I might be part of the problem.
Yeah, you definitely are.
So I'm complaining about myself at this point. But yeah, so that's just me. But I am excited. That's all I'll say. And yeah, I just want to be surprised. That's all. So if this is all we know, that would be great. But what about you guys? Are you guys stoked for this? How do you feel about Avengers Doomsday? What do you think about the cast list, specifically the X-Men cast list? And on top of that, what do you think about the Jordan Luka 4s? Do you think that this is an upgrade compared to the last model? I personally do. Would you like to see a performance review? If you did, sound off below and let me know. I will catch you guys in the next one. So until then, I hope that y'all have a good day. However, it feels best in the back. Oh, I should rephrase that. However, it feels more comfortable in the heel. Better? Thanks.